By
Oh,
all people stand by, preparing to live stream the meeting, setting up your meeting for custom streaming service.
you clap again because we clapped the whole 7 minutes ago, and I'm sure that ain't worth nothing now.
Video unavailable. This video. Okay, I need to do a new link. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, D,
Hold
you
up.
was right to try to get out of
Hold
here.
up. No, no, we're good. We're good. I think we're live.
God does not want us to do a soiree today.
I think that we're live. Try.
We're live
We just gonna keep fighting God, huh?
Oh,
here.
I think we're live.
Amazing.
Yeah, we're live.
Woohoo!
But I don't
Love
see
y'all.
any. But the chat's not popping up for me.
The thing you sent was I took me to some studio.
Oh, don't follow that. Go to the one up top. I think.
Well, I'm so excited that we're live. I'm gonna play the theme song while we figured this out.
Oh, do you want me to screen?
Yeah, you guys, we're gonna play the theme song. BRB. I'm gonna play it now. In like 2 seconds.
Pretty sure the only people watching are the people in this Zoom.
This is so exciting.
I can't hear the theme song.
Yeah, yeah.
I like so much whispering.
To satisfy me.
I can't even hear the drum. Ooh.
Yeah, yeah. Oh. I like our theme song. Do y'all like our theme song? Because I like our theme song.
Maybe we couldn't hear your theme song.
Are you serious?
It sounded like someone's whispering it through the microphone.
That whole time you didn't hear the theme song?
No, we
And
can hear.
nobody said anything.
No, we were saying it. We've been here laughing the whole time, and you was feeling yourself so much that you didn't see us missing
Oh
the
no,
whole
I was
thing.
doing social media stuff, so like I wasn't even like I
Uh.
was here, but I wasn't. I'm really sorry to everyone, but it's okay. I think we're gonna make it some way somehow through this soiree.
Are we live for sure?
We are definitely live, and I'm so sad that no one heard that theme song, and I was just back here like I did the robot. Like
Boy, that is funny to me.
I could hear it. It just sounded like someone was singing it from like underneath my bed, and I was asleep.
Yeah, it kind of sounded like you accidentally were playing it off your phone, and then your mic was catching it from across the room.
dang it. That makes me so sad and so mad. Oh, it's okay. D, can you play a song? I feel
That messed me
humiliated,
real
and
good. Hold
I'm
on,
not really humiliated.
I'm still trying to see how I could post to the do it. Okay, never mind.
Close to the thing.
Oh, that was
Yo.
funny to me.
This is
I
if
feel like I
2020 was a cyber soiree.
8 o'clock Eastern, it's a service, all right. Never mind, you didn't hear it just now, so it's not fresh on your mind like it is on mine.
Oh man,
I don't know if I'm ever gonna recover from that.
that thing just
Yo,
black.
I needed that laugh though. I ain't gonna lie.
too.
'Cause
I
this
felt
week
good.
has been trash.
Yes,
This week has
the
been
most.
complete trash, man. We needed that laugh. At least I did.
Brandy, are you on YouTube?
Yeah, but I can't find our stuff because I'm bad at it.
Okay.
Oh,
Brandy,
still, I'll send it to you right now.
are you watching are you watching the stream?
I am now. Yeah.
Okay, Ben, are you watching the stream too?
No, because I'm afraid to touch anything.
Got it. Okay, so there's 6 people watching, and 3 of them are possibly us.
Yeah, I'm on there now. I'm on a 6.
Oh, this is exciting.
So it's the 4 of us, Malcolm, and 1 other person.
Probably DJ.
Well, this is
I hope
exciting.
it's DJ.
Hey, TJ.
Guys, this is as famous as we're ever gonna get. So relish in this
I'm
moment.
enjoying this so much right now.
Oh God.
I love this. Dude, D, can you play us a song? Is that okay?
Yeah, I can play a song.
Good luck, baby. Good luck.
Woo, child. Ugh. That blessed me real good. That is funny. All right. Woo, child. Okay. Okay. What key I'm in? Okay, here we go. You're still the God who sees me. My voice is small, you hear me. You give us love and healing, and we still believe you restore all things. We are pressed, not crushed. We are still unbroken. We are never forsaken, and you will still fulfill every word you've spoken. Heard, not destroyed, we are still unbroken. When I'm lost, you find me. You oversee the clear blue skies and the storm winds. When troubles roar, remind me, lest my heart forget just how good you've been. We are pressed, not crushed. We are still unbroken. We are never forsaken, and you will still fulfill every word you've spoken. Heard, not destroyed, we are still unbroken. Oh, let us not forget your love. And we will not forget just how good you've been. We are pressed, not crushed. We are still unbroken. We are never forsaken, and you will still fulfill every word you've spoken. Heard, not destroyed. We are still unbroken. We are pressed, not crushed. We are still unbroken, and we are never forsaken, and you will still fulfill every word you've spoken. Heard, not destroyed. We are still unbroken. We are still unbroken, and we are still unbroken. There it is.
I mean, D, I think you know how to write a song, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems right.
Like, like that was beautiful. That's really beautiful. This is the third time, by the way, you've gotten onto the soiree and sang a new song that you literally just wrote.
Yep.
You were making that up as you went, right?
I wish, but no, I didn't.
So humble.
I mean, I do feel like that's a word for some folks, so I appreciate you bringing the song. This is a wild time that we're in. Is I think we keep getting on and being like, it's a wild time, and then every time becomes a new version of greater chaos and dystopia than the time before. So doing these monthly is really interesting, just because it feels really different a month from a month ago. So I guess I'm curious how y'all are doing in the midst of everything that's been going on. Excuse me. Yeah, how y'all doing?
Ooh. Ben,
Me,
like you got a word.
Oh, Ben.
um, I am. I have to admit, I am growing impatient with certain people, particularly people on my news feeds and social apps that are people that I grew up thinking were the people I was supposed to look up to, and
Mm.
were people that were kind of like the stalwarts of the faith in the spaces I grew up in that I've lost a lot of respect for in the last few years, but mostly the last few months. Um, and trying to deconstruct that has been confusing and painful. Um, and then trying to constantly remind myself that they're still image bearers, and that has been a hard process. Um, that's kind of how I feel right now, and it's not fun. So I don't know. I'm sure. I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's just exhausting too. It's exhausting to see things come up that to me can feel so obviously twisted and wrong. And to go like, oh, actually, like people that I know and I see the same situation and see it entirely differently. And that like in that we can't even have a dialogue because we can't even agree on what a fact is anymore. And to me, that's been super exhausting this week, especially with Jacob Blake and and that 17-year-old Kyle Rittenberg. And so it just feels like when we can't even agree about what happened, no wonder we can't draw conclusions about what it looks like to be people who can be together in any kind of way.
Yeah, I agree. I think I've had to come to reckon with some of even the biases I grew up with. Just not necessarily that. I've learned that a lot of the learned behavior from me and from people that I grew up with, even if it wasn't directly from the household, there's these like societal learned behaviors that are very particular to like white right wing Christian circles. And I'm trying to say this without being extreme, but I don't know how. I've seen like a strange, almost insatiable bloodlust um, that is so quick to not only, it used to be that justifying stuff and justifying shootings of unarmed people of color was gross enough. And I feel like this week, particularly, um, and I know that everyone that Rittenhouse shot, they weren't people of color, but I feel like there's been this shift from justification of shooting to now we have this weird glorification of the shooter that's gone beyond justifying why it was okay and now is hailing him as this vigilante hero. And it is really wrecking my spirit in a big way. So
I remember when I first saw that happen. It was with George Zimmerman and Trayvon Martin. I remember when it first happened. Like when I first saw it, I was like, "Yo, you gotta be kidding me!" Like this dude's like being invited to conventions and making money, and like didn't they auction off like the gun that he used? Like, yeah,
I
it
want to say
just
they
it's
got. I want to say they
gross.
got 6 figures for that gun.
he also, yeah, he does. I'm not going to mention it because it's heartbreaking, but he does some, he like has done some events where he does some pretty gross stuff.
Yeah, he's a real
So,
a real
yeah.
a real yep.
Yeah. And this particular instance is weird because like that instance is like horrible, and this one it's like that one there is law enforcement involved, and it's like this person's job is supposed to be to protect the people, and this one's like it's not even this guy's job to do that. So while you have law enforcement that are just not doing their job correctly, this guy is taking on what he thinks is them doing the job correctly upon himself, but it's really just him reflecting the messed up system that is, I guess I will say this, policing in general. So
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yo, did y'all see at the RNC, that married couple that held up guns at the protesters, like were there, like talking,
yeah,
like being celebrated, like as if they're like heroes.
they're
It's
the saviors of the suburbs.
Mm-hmm.
see that's why I love this
Because
so
we don't need
much.
Jesus to be the savior of the suburbs. We need those two. Yeah, I did have to. I had to allow myself to laugh at what was happening out there. Especially, let's just say Kimberly Guilfoyle. If you watch The Office at all, I feel like when she was giving her shouting
Mhm.
speech, all I could think of was Dwight Schrute imitating Mussolini. So it was like Kimberly Guilfoyle was imitating Dwight Schrute, imitating Mussolini, and it did make it just feel a tiny bit better. So please watch it again if you watch The Office at all, and watch it through that frame because I need whatever life I can get in this moment.
I I wish I could. I wish I could have had that thought in that moment, because I swear all I was thinking was we're way not nearly as funny, and we're amused
No.
with that.
Yeah, I couldn't take any of that stuff in. I've been trying to do um I've been trying to keep watch and keep guard over my own sort of mental state and emotions, and so for me that just involves like, and I'm not a throwaway or like delete type of person, but just in recent weeks it's just been like at some point I just have to protect myself because nobody's gonna do that for me. And I have a wife to love well. I have a child to raise. I have people to lead. And that unhealthy, and like as for me it was like I have to trust that God will keep me and keep my family safe in a world, because in the black church I know like Brittany, I'm sure you've heard it, and Brandy may have heard it too. Like in the black church we always say, protecting me from danger seen and unseen, or in
Mhm.
things of that nature. It's like in every prayer in the in black church it was a thanking God for what he kept us from that we knew about, and what he kept us from that we had no clue of. And so these days I'm leaning into that mystery of, Lord, if there's something I'm missing, I'm going to not in I'm going to not take all that stuff. Because even Jesus said it's not what comes out of your mouth that defiles you, it's what you continually ingest. Um that defiles you. Or maybe it was a flip side. My bad. It was a flip side. He says, not what you eat that defiles you, what comes out of your mouth that defiles you. At the same time, I'm not taking in no BS neither.
Yes. Yes.
Like, so I'm not taking in the RNC. I'm not following President Trump. Like I'm not doing, like I'm trying to just not in a way that's like canceling or like I want you, whatever. It's like you just can't be next to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like you, like we, like I love you, like whatever it is, it is. But I need to like protect myself now because there's too much work to be done in the world. There's so many people that need it. There's so many people that need support. There's so many people that need help for me to be completely consumed by folks that are gonna get it wrong and love getting it wrong because it's lining their pockets
Mm-hmm.
and it's making them more powerful. Like I just don't have time for you anymore. Like I don't have any more bandwidth or soul space or heart space or mental space or time
Mm-hmm.
like to give you anymore because it's too much work to be done.
Yes.
Far too much work to be done.
One that feels like that's super relevant to the current project that we're putting out right now, which I think I don't know how you all feel about this, but I think with Common Hymnal and especially this Praise and Protest album that we're putting out, I just wish we didn't have to. Like,
Mhm.
I love that we get to make music together. I love that we get to produce things and put them into the world and give people things to really walk through these times with, but I just wish we didn't have to do it. Like I think about that with my job all the time. Like I wish I didn't have a job. Like there wasn't a need for my job, that I didn't need to do anti-racist work because there'd be no racism.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like I'm both celebrating what is coming out right now and what we're doing, but I feel increasingly despondent that it is a necessity to have such work in the world to guide and really soothe and be a balm to people in these times.
Yo, I feel you on that completely. I I think just on the I mean, because I work the Praise and Protest album in different angles. So, like, I've written songs on the project. That's already hard. Like, the amount of time, like, I've just had to stop and, like, just cry, like, or just take a moment and breathe, or we just had to walk away, or it seems like I have an attitude during a co writing session because I'm actually just really sad that we got to talk about this stuff all the time. From that to when like I do the social media and like constantly replaying all because every day I have to read the messages, I have to read the comments, and then if something happens and everyone's kind of posting our songs a lot, it's just like it's a lot and it's overwhelming and it's beautiful and I love that people find a place in these songs and find comfort and find a space to be able to grieve and learn and feel and and kind of reverse the desensitization, if that's a word, that a lot of people have done for so long when it comes to watching Black people get killed on camera. Um, but it's also just hard. Like I wish there was no need for any of this, and so
It,
it's hard, man. It's challenging being people that kind of take on the task of making an album like this. I mean, we're not the first and we ain't the last. It's a bunch of people. I think about Stevie Wonder and I'm like, yo, what was it like to write those songs in the middle of the civil rights movement? Like what was it like, And so um I wish we didn't need those songs either.
Yeah.
I'm right with you, yo.
Yeah,
it's all
I was thinking about interventions when I was yesterday. I was I was walking off my church stage and for some reason the interventions album was in my head with songs like Mr. Know It All and like the song Intervisions, like all these things that Stevie wrote that like like just with a little update of musicianship and some mastering, man, that crap is still relevant. Like
Mhm.
that could be a 2020 song. Like
Yeah.
so many of those songs weren't just like good for the times. Like I think of Mr. Know It All. That song was about Richard Nixon. That song could be about President Trump easily. Like you don't even have to
Mhm.
change the words, my G.
Mhm.
Like that song is about the president right now. Like you haven't done nothing. Like the song you did with the Jackson Five. Like all
Mhm.
that stuff. Like man, like so there's a duty I think for not for creatives and I think now for creatives within the Christian space
Mhm.
to to write those kinds of songs. Like and yeah, I would love to. Mm, no, I'm not gonna say that. There's there, but
D, I've never seen you do that before.
You got that fruit of the spirit, that's self-control now.
Look at you, D.
doggone fruit number five.
But not for real though. Can you text me? Can you text me what you were about to say? Can you
Put
put
it.
it in our chat?
I'll put it in the chat.
Yes.
If this is gonna be the new precedent for our chat's about to be lit.
Listen, I like our chats. They do stay lit. I'm sorry, but I cut you off though. You were about to say something really poignant, and I really want to hear
No,
it.
I wasn't. Never mind. I was just trying to reroute the thing that I was gonna say in the first place, but it wasn't worth it.
Come on, teamwork. We rerouted that one.
it
Yo.
is an interesting dichotomy. Like I think of having been in other music groups that focus was not on stuff that was important, like the stuff that we're trying to write about. It was just basically for entertainment's sake and for me to play music. And like when a song starts popping in that context, it's just like all joy and excitement
Mhm.
and giddiness. But when a song like a common hymnal song starts popping, it's always because something tragic happened to somebody.
Mhm.
So it's totally different visceral emotion. It's always Like it's not even bittersweet. There's not a lot of sweetness about it except for being grateful that we were able to create something that gave some kind of channel for grief and some kind of way to process. But what
Sorry,
what happened?
D message just. I'm sorry, Ben. You were saying something really poignant, and I really
No,
want to hear it.
I pretty much said it. It's just a weird dichotomy that when a lot of traction starts happening in a common hymnal song,
Yeah.
it's because something tragic happened.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's like rose petals, or something like He Has Time or God Is Not Abusive. It's like the people that it's connecting with are really struggling.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
And it's hard to not feel like it's hard to not feel like like the folks on Wall Street that benefit when the economy tanks, like they sort of bet against the economy, and it's tough to not feel like that, when every time, like now, almost now every time somebody gets killed at the hands of brutal police, somebody's putting out something with rose petals in it, and
Right.
it
Mm-hmm.
feels like, as much as I am thankful to have for people to have a song for that moment, man, it really stinks
Yeah.
to like, or not stinks. It's really difficult to enjoy
Yeah.
that moment because in many ways it feels like I'm benefiting from the world falling apart, and I don't want to be
Mm-hmm.
that
Yeah.
person.
Yep.
Right. Sometimes it almost feels inappropriate to be happy.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, and I can't be like when George Floyd was murdered, and like for 3 or 4 weeks, it felt like rose petals. I couldn't get away from it for a month almost, and that was really tough, man. Like that was um yeah, that was taxing,
Mm.
mentally and emotionally taxing, and because I'm processing with the rest of the world, but now I have to process and hear my own voice every 45 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
That's really that's really tough.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
really tough.
Y'all, the first moment I realized praise and protest was important, um, or that protest music in general was important. I was sitting in a at a it's like a panel thing in Nashville, um, and I had to sing, but it was a panel of people, and it was gosh, I think it was four people, and one of them was a white man, and everyone was talking about black music. And everyone was talking about the history of black music. It was for a museum that's being built here in town, and this was like I want to say like 4 or 5 years ago. But in the middle of the conversation and talking about the history of black music, there was the white panelist. He said, um, pretty much, he said something that alluded to how there doesn't need to always be protest music. Like people should write more feel good music. And I said out loud, BS, except I just said what it was. And then everyone just looked at me. I was like, oh, shoot, dang it. What did I do? And I'm trying to be quiet. I just got up there and sang my country song. And here I am, like, nah, that ain't true. And so it was awkward, but that was the moment where it was like an awakening in me, um, to recognize no, this stuff is important. And as artists, um, we do have a responsibility, I think. Nina Simone said it best, to reflect the times that we're in. And so as we are releasing this praise and protest project, I don't know. I guess for me, as we're releasing this, I'm thinking I'm going back to the time where I realized praise and protest was important, or protest music in general was important. So I would love to hear from you guys. Like, what is it that um, praise and protest mean to you, and why is this stuff important? Why is it relevant? I know how much it affects us and hurts us sometimes, but what does it mean? Like, what's the reason we're even doing this project?
Well, I think like to be very Christian as I am, like theologically, faith without deeds is dead. And I think you could say the same thing about praise without protest. It's the aim. It's like, get away from me with your songs. I hate all of it.
Yeah.
Instead, pursue justice. That's a crass paraphrase of Amos 5. But to me, it feels like if we are not protesting injustice in our world, we are not embodying the faith that we proclaim. And it gets to live very conveniently in our heads and our hearts, our non-literal hearts, and have no implication on anything else. And I think that that creates a really dangerous precedent for faith in general, where you can think and believe the right things while never having to change, which I think cheapens all of what discipleship is, which is seeing who God is, responding and changing.
Yeah.
And I think because we live in such a fragile society, we can't hear feedback very well. And so to me, I think that praise and protest in worship music or in music in general helps to bypass some of the mental fragility that we have and touch to more of a heart space where we can be transformed. And so I think on an abstract level, that feels real for me. But secondarily, I just am over music that doesn't say anything. I'm over worship that's just a plethora of water and field metaphors that talk about me skipping with Jesus or like being calm when the world is burning.
Right.
And there's 10,000 songs like that, 10,000 reasons for those 10,000 songs, it would seem. And I just feel like I don't need to know about 100 billion whatevers of God when my brother's being murdered in the street.
Yeah.
I don't care. I do not care.
Yeah,
and so I think it needs to have substance.
Yeah, there are folks that saying that that 8 billion that I see your heart 8 billion different ways line in So Will I, and went right to defend the reason that Jacob Blake was shot in the back 7 times.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all don't mean none of that stuff. You know what I mean? Like, and it's rich young ruler syndrome. We have it heavy in America. Everybody wants to follow Jesus until it's time to sell all your stuff and give it to the poor. Everybody wants to love Jesus. Like, everybody wants to do like the rich young ruler. What his problem wasn't that he didn't want to live right. He wanted to do everything. He even said like, "Yo, I'm doing all the things," and he knew that there was still a disconnect between him and God. Even though he had all the checks, he had all the little check marks that he could count. He still understood deep in his soul there's a disconnect between me, I want what the Father wants, between what I am, between who I am and who the Father is, and I need something to make up that difference. And he came to Jesus, and Jesus said, "You have to sell all your stuff and you have to give it to the poor. Then you come follow me." And he left away. He walked away, not because he didn't follow Jesus, but because he didn't want to give up his stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the mark of the American Christian, is that we just don't, we want to we want to say we love Jesus, all that, but we don't want to give up nothing, and we certainly don't want to give it to the people that don't have anything, because then they'll have it and we won't.
Yeah. And even back to that dumb song. No offense if you really like that song, but I'm just like,
I love that song, but I think it's the best song ever written, one of them. But
I'm just like, if
I
you
love
could
that
see
song
God's
too, I ain't gonna
heart
lie.
800 billion different ways, but you can't say Black Lives Matter.
come on,
Like that doesn't make the song is so flat if there's nothing behind it. So I can feel abstractly worshipful in some way, but if 8 billion reasons isn't enough for me to trust that my brother's humanity is good and worthy of anything, then I'd rather not sing anything ever.
and we have to start challenging as and I'm not a worship leader anymore. That job ended for me this last Sunday. But like, worship leaders have to, and I'll probably lead once a month or something like that. But like, worship leaders have to. My wife does such a good job of challenging her congregation to not sing things if they don't mean them. Like, she said it multiple times at her campus, like, "Yo, we're about to sing this song, and this means this, and if that's not true for you, don't sing this, because you're lying." Like, you know, and when we have songs like that say things like, "I can see your heart 8 billion different ways," we should stop a moment and allow people the opportunity to unsubscribe, but then also just let them know what that means. You know, like when you're saying to God, "I can see you in every person that you've made," but then turn right around to justify a person being killed or shot in front of his children, then that's a lie you just saying.
That's true. That's facts.
You just lied. Like that, let's talk about it. Let's talk about lying in church. That's where most of the lying in the world happens, I believe. Like honestly, like most of the lies are either said at the RNC or at the church house. So let's talk about it. Sorry. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. You're a liar. And you just lie. And because I love you, because I'm your brother in this thing, because we're walking this thing out together, I need to tell you that what you just did was called lying.
Oh my God.
If we're gonna talk about it, let's talk about it. I told y'all to let me off this podcast today, and you said no. So everything I say is on you.
D, you ask that every week though. Every time we do the soiree, you were looking for an out. That's why you weren't on the cyber soiree theme song at first.
That is true.
I've been trying to write the same song with D for about 8 months now.
8 months. I've been trying to finish the song.
always
No, I
too-
haven't been trying.
That might say, don't even lie. We've written some bangers. Don't even start your lying.
Yo, we can.
Someone could gestate a baby in 8 months. Dang.
Yeah, except for the baby I was trying to make with D has not birthed yet.
Wow.
Wow.
That's funny. Somebody said a girl making my smoothie was picking her nose while making. I got angry, pulled her to the side, and pointed out her error to help herself.
How much longer, God? How much longer, Ben? We need your song.
And she said this needs to happen more.
But
I
I
can't tell
love
if that's
it.
the soiree or the call out on nose picking, but we really hitting some weird spaces today.
It's
I just love that she pulled her aside.
Me-
That was really nice.
Did you drink the smoothie, Felicia? Because that's the big part. Did you drink booger juice? Booger banana smoothie?
Ew.
Boogers and bananas. Boogers and bananas.
Oh,
Ben, this is what you've been waiting for. You getting your songwriting right now.
Yes, I did. I prayed over it. Girl,
Savory.
ain't a prayer
little-
in the world.
Little savory.
Wow.
like
No boogers are savory now.
boogies to make a smoothie a little greener.
Boogers are savory, little salty, little sweet. Mm-hmm.
Get those superfoods.
I quit. I don't like y'all.
Ain't nothing wrong with a little salty, little
It's still daylight out here on the West Coast. I could go on a walk. I could be anywhere, and I'm choosing to be here.
sweet.
We're talking about boogers. You're the one who like whipped out that SCOBY that one time.
That is
Okay, I'm trying to have some probiotics in my life, homie. If you ever come to my place and want some kombucha or any of the other things I ferment, game over.
Dang it.
Whoa, flex. That's such a weird flex. Any of the other things I ferment.
I ferment
That
a lot
is
of things.
That is such a weird flex, Brandy.
I mean, I'm making my own wine vinegars right now and like all kinds of stuff. So it's a
your house must smell amazing.
You know I loved seeing that SCOBY. That's why I put it in the theme song video.
yeah. I did see that and I was like, I am this. This is the black person I am. This isn't the black person I always display in public. And here I am on an after call, pulling a SCOBY out of a jar and being like, look at this bacteria puck. Speaking of bacteria pucks, our president. No, I won't dehumanize anybody. That's my bad. I can repent of that. But I do wonder because
We're almost at the end of this show. That's what we are.
we've gone off the rails
An
so
hour,
much.
7:47.
So my question is, why music then? Like, if we're doing praise and protest, we could do that in a lot of different ways.
Mhm.
A lot of us are marching. A lot of us are doing a lot of other things. So why music? Why does that matter?
Yeah.
Why do y'all spend your time writing songs? Because y'all know that's not my game. But
Yeah, I can talk to this a little. I'll first start by saying somebody asked me. Right now, I'm getting a degree in political science, and so somebody asked me why I was doing that right now, and so I had to think through that. But in my process of thinking through that, I also had to think through music because I believe that my time with Common Hymnal led me to want to go into political science because I feel like working in politics can initiate like active change, and I felt like that was something I couldn't necessarily do personally with music. I felt like I could inspire other people to do that, but I think that music has the capacity to change hearts and minds, and policy might not be able to do that, but music can. So these two areas for me kind of blended into one side of it is like, where can I actually change structures? You can do that through policy, but to get people to actually support those changes and stuff, there has to be some kind of thing that moves them to a change of heart. And I think that music and art are one of the most fundamental and successful mediums that can actually change people's hearts and minds on issues, um, and has a strange way of bringing people together. Someone could like the way a song sounds and really connect to the song, and then because they like the way it sounds, they listen to the lyrics, and then they might at first be like, "Oh man, I really liked the song, but I don't know if I like what it says." But then it makes them have to actually start processing those lyrics and thinking through what it is about that they like the song beyond the melody and the instrumentation. And so I think that songs actually do have a significant amount of power in changing hearts and minds. And then if that can lead people to do things that initiate more systemic and structural change, then to me that's the ultimate goal. Um, I think.
Yeah, it's good.
I think music has always been a part of movements. Art in general has been a part of movements.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I remember when we were deciding on the cover for this project, um, Gilbert actually made the graphic, and Gilbert he spent a lot of time looking at a lot of the type font that was used in just like previous movements and protests, um, because it's important the way a thing looks. I think music helps solidify a particular sound for a moment, um, particularly in this regard with protests. Um, you need it. Music, it gives us strength. In the same way that it can open someone's heart, as Ben was just saying, um, they might just vibe with the song or the track, and then they start listening to the lyrics. And for people who are already in it, for people who are already awakened to the struggle of the present day, um, it can serve as just an incredible source of strength, a hope in knowing that you're not the only one feeling what you're feeling. It's a uniting factor. I remember when uh, I remember when Beyonce first released Freedom, and I remember I was listening to that. I was like, "Yo, this is crazy! This is incredible!" I mean, even when I heard Brown Skin Girl, like just those songs that are just so defiant, because protest songs aren't always "this is what's wrong" and "we're raising hell." It's not always that. It is that, and we need that. Sometimes it's just like statements like like innocent lives, like the one song that we have, or like what I just mentioned with Beyonce, "Brown Skin Girl." To me, that's protest. Like to even just stand in the beauty of what you are and what you look like when society has deemed it unnecessary for so long, or unacceptable, or ugly. Um, we need those songs because it tells us who we are and it reminds us of who we are when the world shuts us down for fighting in what we believe. We need those songs that bring us back to ourselves and that connect us with others. That is the overarching goal of music that serves protests and movements.
Hmm. Yeah, it's good. So, Brittany, I know you. Excuse me. So, Britt, I know you have a song for us that you've been putting out some stuff, but I do wonder if we could each even just name what's one song that has done what you're saying, Brittany. What's one song that has helped us like return to our humanity, that has helped us stay present in these moments and in these movements? Do any of y'all have ones that come to mind? You said Brown Skin Girl.
Yeah, man, I think this week it's been uh it's been Jasmine Sullivan, Baltimore, and not because it says something about the greatest city in the world, Baltimore, not Chicago. D. I love that song. Um, Also, I love all of the songs that are. This is a weird plug, but I really mean it. Our new Praise and Protest radio station on Pandora that released this week. That's such a weird plug, but it's not supposed to be a plug. I've really been listening to it, and you guys should listen to it too. It's in the link in our bios. But all honestly, all those songs have been um, hitting home. I love it. This it just means so much to me.
Recently, a song it's on my little gym playlist when I go. It's called "God Gave Us a Future" by Marvin Winans and Perfected Praise. Um, and even it's not necessarily it's not a protest song. It's a gospel song, but it has lines in it. You know, that album was made whatever early '90s, late '80s, or something like that. Um, and there's a line in the chorus. It says like, "And to worship Him in a country that is free in most things." And I just think that is one of the greatest lines ever written in gospel music. And so for me, I listen to that song like every time somebody questions whether or not you know, the idea of protest belongs in our worship experience. I think of God gave us a future, and I go, yes, absolutely, it does, because in the context of a worship album, they wrote, "And to worship Him in a country that is free in most things." That's such an amazing line.
That's such a fire line,
It's
yo.
flames,
Uh,
like
And you
it's
said it's by Marvin Winans.
Marvin Winans,
He's
and
just incredible anyway.
yeah, it's a beautiful like yeah. The whole album has one of my favorite songs on it, but like that recently has been like that has helped strengthen me when I consider the songs I'm writing in the context of worship. It's like, no, Marvin wrote that a long time ago, you know.
Hmm.
So I can do this now.
Yo, aren't you incredibly grateful when there's artists that, I mean, we're all adults, but and so we don't need permission. But when we have people, when we have artists that go before us, and they do something, and it almost like frees you up to be like, oh, I can do this too. I can say this. I can do this as well. I appreciate that. So many artists like that in my life too. D.
Hmm. For me, I'm a good old Virginia boy, and
What does that mean?
I
Me like home Alabama.
yeah, okay, yeah, don't let me rephrase that.
I have no idea what that means, Ben.
Uh, no, Brandy. Um, let me re- let me
I
rephrase.
said it sounds like a proud boy in our chat. Just so he's not the one white guy on here just like rebuking me with a proactive no, Brandy.
No, Brittany.
I
That is
just could. We could not let you get away with that. I
Okay,
don't think no one knew what that meant. So
me-
this is good.
start over. Let me start over. Being from Virginia, I grew up listening to a lot of Bruce Hornsby, who is I love Bruce Hornsby. Like I'm like a little bit obsessed with Bruce Hornsby. Do you guys listen to Bruce Hornsby ever?
Yes.
can't say that I have.
Okay, well
Yes.
you. Oh my goodness. Okay, how do I describe this? You know the trying to think of a song that you might know of his. The boodle-doom, boodle-doom, boodle-doom. Some
Oh, that's just the way it is.
that's, that's, that's
It'll
Bruce Hornsby. Yep.
never change.
I knew that one would be it.
It's just the way it is. Oh yeah.
I think so. I think for me, one of my favorite. I think it's a
That wasn't Puff Daddy.
Puff Daddy sampled it.
Oh, okay.
That's a sample from a Hornsby song.
Because Puff Daddy was like,
Yep.
just the way it is. And that 112 sang it. Things will never be the same. Okay, my bad. I'm sorry. Don't worry about it.
For me, I think it's probably Bruce Hornsby. He has this song, one of his first albums called "Defenders of the Flag," and I'll just like read. I guess one of the first pre-choruses. I feel like lyrics always sound weird when you read them out loud, but it's "Can't you hear them calling? Can't you see them shine? The city halls are falling. The defenders drink their wine, and when the party's over, their stomachs start to sag. Defenders, defenders of the flag." And it's just like calling out corruption in government, and a lot of this record is like that, and it just kind of calls out American exceptionalism in a really artful way, and so I don't think that I understood those lyrics growing up, but then there was a time where I was listening to it like several years ago, and I was like, oh, that's what he's talking about. So I think for me, that's one of the one of the ones that I think of when I go back is because it just straight up the song kind of calls out both like American exceptionalism and nationalism within government. Um, but yeah, I think that's it for me.
And I'll go real black and I'll go real white on this one. um, so this one, the first one, I'll start with white so I can end on a. It's like when you do highs and lows. I'm not saying. I'll stop. Uh, I have been listening. I recently reheard the song by Five Iron Frenzy
Whoa.
called "Get Your Riot Gear," and I was like, "Oh, that song slaps different in 2020."
I forgot
Right.
about Five Iron Frenzy.
Yo,
So-
drop the link. Drop the link. Drop the link.
I talked them with someone last night. This is the second time Five Iron Frenzy has come up in the last 24 hours.
Yeah.
I've never
It's
heard of them.
like even the lyric here is legislation never made you judge and jury, martial law now, beat the kids down with no worries.
Whoa, amen.
Whoa.
Yeah. It's yeah,
my God.
it's written on your badge to serve and protect. It seemed you only serve yourself, protecting your own neck. Controlling with fear, menacing and threatening. You want my respect, you better start respecting me. I was like, oh, these white guys were really doing some stuff out there. So I've been thinking about that song lately and just the ways that got a bunch of white ska kids bouncing around. But then I've also been thinking about a change is going to come. Either Sam Cooke or Aretha. Aretha's kind of my leaning on that one. But I think both of those songs, I think Get Your Right Gear helps me to go, oh, you can speak truth in a really profound way.
Yeah.
And it matters and is right and good, and that there's a way that you can make that really evocative, and then a change is going to come. I think it just connects me to the ancestors and to folks who have come before and done way more fighting than I'll probably ever do in my life.
I was born by the
Amazing.
river.
Yo,
Mm-hmm.
this is a word. I love this.
Well, Britt, you want to share your song with us as
As a
an
club.
addition? Yeah, as an addition.
You know, I'm just really marinating and I'm just so filled up. And
Nah,
I'm wondering if
Nah,
D
play
wants
that
to-
song, my G.
All right, Ben, you got a song?
Play that right. We're gonna get a song.
I'm joking, man.
Well, we're gonna get this song. We're gonna get going now.
First of all, D, you're not going to rush the praise and the protest. You can't rush the praise and the protest. So this song is called Compassion. Yeah, it's called Compassion, and it's a song that I wrote hoping that I can get people to find ways to empathize with other people by looking at really huge problems throughout the world and comparing it to our everyday, mundane, routine lives. So this is Compassion. If a half-empty stomach makes you angry, imagine life for people on the street. If a neighbor's untamed yard can drive you crazy, imagine seeing bombs break through their concrete. Image is something of importance, but only when you've got anything to prove. Well, the world just don't seem fair when all it's left you is little or nothing to lose. Live your life and have your fun and share it with everyone you love. Raise your kids and raise your glass for every single freedom that we have. And while we're looking for the next best thing to happen, heaven pray we all find some compassion. All of those bodies walking signs across the pavement, crying out for justice to prevail. It's not another traffic inconvenience. things. One day we'll see it's history that we made. Could we let empathy repair what hatred breaks? Live your life and have your fun and share it with everyone you love. Raise your kids and raise your class for every single freedom that we have. And while we're looking for the next best thing to happen, oh, heaven pray we all find some compassion. It's not always a big event, time or money that we spend trying to make the world a better place. It's usually just a helping hand, an open mind, the will to stand those hard conversations with folks you thought you figured out. Yeah, that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. Well, live your life and have your fun and share it with everyone you love. Raise your kids and raise your glass for every single freedom that we have. Feel good when you latch on to that new catchphrase. Change your style, change the channel, change your name. But while we're looking for the next best thing to happen, oh, heaven pray we all find some compassion. Oh, heaven pray we all find some compassion. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, Lord, oh, Lord, oh, Lord, oh, Lord, yeah. We're seeking and we hope we find some compassion.
All right, everybody, that was Brittany Spencer with her new song "Compassion," available all right now on all the DSPs. Download, hit that like button, smash it. Yeah.
All right, guys, I think we're done.
All right, guys, I think we're done.
Thank you so much for tuning in. Follow us on all the socials. Also, we have a Patreon if you feel so willing.
That's true.
Love y'all. Thank you.